Says we are live. What's good? Elite live streams. It's your boy Brandon B. We back with another one, man. What's good, everybody out there? Salute to everyone who's tuned in. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Go out there, tell people about your boy. I'm here. I'm with another video. We on that road to 1,000 subscribers. So make sure to stay tuned in as we go on this journey to 1,000 subscribers. We on the grind right now, baby. We about one subscriber from 200. So, hey, show your boy some love, man. Help me get to 200 subscribers. That's where we going to start. But today, we talking about your boy Donald Trump, the orange man in charge. All right, the orange man in charge. He is now on a war path because everyone's still asking about where the Epstein list is. We still want to know where the Epstein list is. So since we asking about the Epstein list, your boy Donald Trump, he's upset. He's saying he's tired of the Smithsonian Museum displaying Black history. He's tired of seeing Black American history. He's had enough of it. He says, I am tired of seeing the suffering. I'm tired of seeing the actual facts about what my ancestors did to the peoples. All right. That's what he's tired of. He said he's had enough of it. He wants to take it out. He said it's too focused on the downtrodden, whatever the hell that means. He's going hard. He's upset. He's mad. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna first go over his quotes of exactly what the orange man had to say. We're gonna zoom in on that orange face right there. And we're gonna make sure that we give him the platform to say exactly what he said verbatim from the orange man himself. Let's hear it, guys, because here he goes.
President Trump says he has instructed his lawyers to scour through America's museums to rid them of exhibits he considers woke, specifically citing exhibits on slavery.
All right, so apparently any exhibit about history is woke. I mean, what the hell, man? Like this is simple stuff, guys. Like this happened. They documented it, and they're making sure that we don't forget it. Right? They're making sure that everyone, right, who understands history, who comes to America, understands American history, right? So this is why we display these things, right? So that we don't forget about our history, so that we continue to know what happened, and so we do not repeat history over time. But Donald, the old Donnie, he doesn't like that. He's tired of seeing it. He says he's tired of it. So let's continue.
President Trump targeted the Smithsonian museums, saying they are, quote, out of control, where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was, and how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been.
All right. How out of control, right? Where everything discussed is horrible about our country. Listen, guys, if discussing history, all right, about our country, okay, is discussed, is that horrible? No, that's what happened, guys. This is actual factuals. It's not like they're just making up some story and then they're just putting it out there for people to follow it, whatever the case. No, this actually happened, okay? And if you have a problem with that's too bad. Because guess what? We need to know our history, and we need to continue to talk about history so that history does not repeat itself, okay? How bad slavery was? Yeah, slavery was horrible, and no one should ever forget it, all right? No one should ever forget the sacrifices, the blood, sweat, and tears that Black Americans put into the soil and fabric of this country. Some of these establishments are still here till this day right now. And he's talking about how horrible it is, how bad slavery was. Of course it was horrible. Of course it sucked. No kidding. But at the end of the day, in order for us to understand who we are and where we came from, this is pivotal, okay? No one goes around telling us to shut down any of the specific holy places for this 24 karat people, okay? The ones who have had Holocaust done to them. No one tells them to go shut down their museums, all right? No one tells them that's too horrible to know about, the Holocaust and what happened to them. But everyone wants black people to say, no, don't talk about the horrible atrocities that happened to you. We don't want to know about that. We don't want to hear about your history. We don't want to hear about what happened to black people. We don't care about that. But everybody else, though, they're cool with it. They want to hear about that. But us, no, they don't want to hear about that. It's too horrible. How bad slavery was and how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been. Yeah, of course, bro. When you hear about systemic racism and all of the systems and programs that are put in place to hold us back as black Americans, yeah, sure. I'm sure you're tired of hearing about that, old Donnie. But guess what? Too bad.
Back in March,
Look
the
at this
president
guy.
signed an executive order
Orange
directing the
face.
Smithsonian Institution, which runs more than 20 museums in Washington and elsewhere, to, quote, celebrate American exceptionalism and remove divisive or partisan narratives.
Divisive and partisan, guys. Divisive? Divisive is talking about the history of black Americans in America. That's divisive. Okay? Talking about and discussing the atrocities that happened to black Americans is divisive in his eyes, right? But he speaks for a certain faction of people, right? So we can't just take what he's saying as a grain of salt where he's just speaking for himself. No, he's speaking for a particular community, right? Who has a certain persuasion to go out here and say and do things that want to hide and keep the history hidden from others so that people don't talk about it. It's a little too uncomfortable. We don't want to hear about what happened. Okay, let's put this in the back. Let's talk about actually something else about America's greatness and all this other stuff. No, we must talk about the history of black Americans and what has happened to people here in America who are underneath that system of white supremacy and racism for hundreds of years. All right. That will never, ever, ever be not talked about, family. It is too ingrained in our fabric. Okay. My great grandmother, her sister, just passed away and she was 95 years old. Okay. My great grandmother, sister. All right. She was here for all of that. So you can't tell me, oh, it was that long ago. No, I lived a whole life with her. Okay. So when you guys talk about all this other stuff about, oh, we need to get over it. It's been this long. Why are you guys still harped up on it? It's because we are still directly connected through a generational tie. Okay. Our genetics, it is bred into us, family. The ancestors are in the fabric of our blood. Okay. There's no way that we could ever not address this. Okay. This time in America, we are making sure that black Americans are not left out here to not be given the proper and the real acknowledgement for what we've done in this country, man. It's getting crazy out here for this fool to be saying this, right? So let's continue.
Last month, the Smithsonian removed references to Trump in an exhibit on presidential impeachments in the Museum of American History. Mentions of Trump's impeachments were later restored, although with changes. Now he's complaining about exhibits on slavery, although during his first term, he visited the Museum of African American History and Culture, which tells the story of slavery and celebrates African American accomplishments, and he called it a, quote, truly great museum done with love. It's not clear whether President Trump actually has the authority to tell any museum, including the museums of the Smithsonian Institution, what to put on display. The American Alliance of Museums, which represents museums across the country, says that no president has the power to impose the kind of review that Trump says he is now ordering.
All right, guys. So make that clear now. That is a clear point where they're saying that no president even has control to do this. So why is he doing this, right? Why? It's all about imagery and media control, right? Because he wants everyone to get the conversation started, right? Because we remember just a couple years ago, All those Confederate statues and Confederate names on schools and monuments are being taken down and being put out, right? Because people feel like that history should not be celebrated. And of course, it shouldn't be, because they were a rebel army that were against the U.S. and they deserved to not be celebrated because they lost. Okay, they lost the war. Boom. Everyone understands that, right? So everyone's saying, all right, guys, so then why do we have this imagery up? Let's take down the statues. Let's move everything out, right? So, in my opinion, to counteract this, now we have guys like Donald Trump, who he understands that he can't get these museums shut down. He knows that he doesn't have any power to do this. So he will use the media and he will use his influence, right, to get the conversation started so that people who align with his ideology and thinking can say, oh, yeah, man, that's right. We should take that down because no one cares about slavery, man. You need to get over it and blah, 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 blah. So when he does this, he's pandering to his base, right? And he knows that there is no power in what he's doing. He knows that he can't change it. He knows that he has no control over these museums. But in order for him, right, to assert his dominance, right, in a certain type of covert way, this is how you do it. You go out into the media, you make a statement, you say, hey, I went to the museum, man, and I'm tired of seeing this slavery stuff, man. I'm tired of seeing this stuff about Black Americans. I'm tired of seeing the stuff about the poverty and all this. Oh no, we need to talk about America's greatness. And no, dude. What we need to talk about is the Epstein files. Where are the Epstein files at, bro? That's what we need to talk about. You over here talking about Black Americans and our history and all this other stuff that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. We want the Epstein files, bro. And all this is, like I continue to tell you guys right here on Elite Media, is these politicians are experts at distraction tactics. Okay. And I wanted to bring something to you guys from the past so that you guys can understand how long this has been happening. Right. So let's bring up the receipts, because I got receipts today. All right. We got receipts, motherfucker, for this orange man, this orange loser who always is trying to distract people from things that he did. All right. Let's talk about your SA cases. Let's talk about the underage kids at the Epstein Island. Where are they at? Let's talk about that, Donald. Stop trying to distract the people. All right, trying to make us think about, oh, we need to take out the history of Black America. Where are the Epstein files at? That's what I want to know. Where are the Epstein files, bro? Because we tired of hearing about this. And let me pull up the receipts to show y'all that this been happening for a minute. That Donald Trump been out here talking crazy for a minute since the 90s. All right? And I ain't finna just sit back here and let y'all just go about y'all day thinking now I'm not finna drop the receipts, bro. So shout out to Tupac, man. One of my favorite artists ever. All right? Who was never afraid to speak his mind, bro. This is an interview from August 21st, 1992. All right? He's talking about Donald Trump and greed. In 90s, bro. Listen to this.
It's such a and when I say this world, I mean it. I don't mean in an ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a gimme. Everybody back off. You know, everybody's like, you taught that from school, everywhere. Big business. If you want to be successful, you want to be like Trump. Gimme. Push. Step.
All right, this is a trait in Donald Trump. Okay, he is a greedy low life. All right. He is willing to do whatever he has to do to push his narrative. He is a white supremacist. We all know this. He's a racist and a misogynistic fool. All right. Who gets crazy spray tans. He look orange. You feel me? All right. So this is the man we talking about. And Tupac was talking about this in the 90s, bro. I want to play this for y'all again so y'all can see exactly what he said. Listen to him. This is in the 90s, 92. Tupac.
This world is such a and when I say this world, I mean it. I don't mean in an ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a gimme. Everybody back off. You know, everybody's like, you taught that from school, everywhere. Big business. If you want to be successful, you want to be like Trump. Gimme. Push. Step. Crush. That's how it all is. And it's like nobody ever stopped. Just, you know, I feel like instead of us just being like slavery's bad, slavery's there, bad whitey. I mean, all right, let's stop that. And everybody's smart enough to know that. I mean, we've been slighted, and we want.
That's facts. It's smart. It's just simple consciousness to understand that slavery was bad and that there needs to be some restitution for what happened. That's it. That's all Black Americans is talking about, family. And this was in the 90s. And that's why I brought this up so that we can have some contrast in between the timing, right? You got this happening from a very, very early time, right? The 90s, right? Where what we were saying was one of the best economies, right? One of the best times in America economically. You got Tupac, who's one of the most successful artists at that time and was a true activist, okay, who spoke out against BS and the government and how, people were being taken advantage of. That was a part of his activism through his art, right? Him being a rapper, him being a poet, him being an actor. Okay. So the way that he's articulating this in the 90s, okay, this was in the 90s, y'all.
Hours. And I don't mean by like hours, 40 acres in the mule, because we're past that. But we need help. I mean, for us to be on our own 2 feet, us meaning youth or us meaning Black people, whatever you want to take it for us to be on our own 2 feet, we do need help because we have been here. We have been a good friend. If you want to make it a relationship type thing, we have been there, and now we deserve our payback. It's like you got.
That's facts. And what he means is we have been here. He's speaking about foundational Black Americans, right? We have been here since the beginning, okay? We have been the ones who put the blood, who fought for everyone else, who helped push the narrative forward for equal rights, equality, okay? All these things that everyone else has been able to benefit from. Black Americans bled and died for this. The right to vote, the right to be treated fairly, okay? The right to education, to learn, okay? All these things at one point were things that Black people had to fight for. There was a time where Black people had to fight to learn how to read, okay? This is where we come from. And so when I see people try to downplay that, where it's like, yo, no, like, bro, we have been integral. We have been one of the most stable parts of how this nation was built. And if this nation is falling apart, that's because they have not invested in the foundational Black Americans who have been here since the beginning. Like Tupac said, we've been here. We've been putting in the time. We've been helping. We've been a very good neighbor. Like he said, let me bring that back for y'all.
Because we have been here. We have been a good friend. If you want to make it a relationship type
Good
thing,
friend,
we
you
have
feel
been
me?
there, and now we deserve our payback. It's like you got a friend that you don't never look out for. You dressed up in jewels. Now America's got jewels, and they paid and everything, and they lending money to everybody except us.
That part. It's obvious that we are not a third world country. It's obvious that America has money. It's obvious that we see them giving money out to wars to help other people, going over here to help other people with disasters, going over there to invade different countries and be able to spread their narrative. But they ain't got no money for Black Americans. They ain't got no money for the foundational Black Americans who helped build this country. They ain't got no money for the people who are actually here, who have helped become and build you up to get you all those jewels, to be able to be where you at. We don't get no chunk of that. We don't get none. Native Americans get theirs, the Japanese get theirs, the Jewish people get theirs, but the Black Americans, we can't get ours, bro. And we've been the most integral of all these people, of all these groups. We've been the ones who was actually out there, bro, picking, building, creating, inventing, innovating. All right. That's us. We've been here since the beginning. And so for us to not be able to get no cut in that is just crazy. It drives us crazy, literally.
And it's like, everybody need a little help on their way to being, self-reliant. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole thing about the album, about the Special Olympics. Everybody need a little something and they to be independent. No.
That's it. All we need is just a little something. You feel me? We don't need a bunch. We just need a little something. We've been able to survive and do everything we've been able to do and literally nothing. So just imagine, right? If we were able to get exactly what we were owed, right? What we're owed, okay? What our ancestors are owed. If we were able to just get a fraction of that, just a little bit of that, you know how much impact that would make for the people and for how much we could be able to spread that. and invest that back into our communities, be able to build up our communities, maybe even separate and go our own separate ways, whatever. But at the end of the day, everybody needs some help. Like Tupac said, at some point, all of us need some help, and we can be able to build from that.
No independent person just grew up and was born independent. You
That
worked
part.
and you learned teamwork and you learned cooperation and unity and struggle, and then you became independent. And we have to teach that and instill that. And why is it that they want to do that? I mean, if this is truly a melting pot in the country where we care about it, and Lady Liberty got a hand like this, she really loves us, then we really need to be like that. And it needs to be the black kids. If there's a white person who got money, then he need to help them. He need to help black kids, Mexican kids, Korean kids, whatever.
That's it, man. If you got it, help. If you don't, get out the way. And that's just what it is, family. And Tupac, this was in the 90s, man. That's why I brought this up. I had to bring up these receipts so y'all can understand that this has been happening for a minute. This ain't nothing new. And Tupac being, young and conscious at his time in that era, of course, yes, he's going to be able to have his own perspective. But at the end of the day, when I see people playing these games with us, trying to make it seem like something ain't right, like, yeah, it's not. And it's been happening for a minute, okay?
But it needs to be real, and it need to be before we all die, and then you say, oh, I made a mistake. We should have gave them some money. We really should have helped these folks. It's going to be too late. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when you got to pay your own karma. And that's when God make you punish, when God punishes you. Because I feel like, it's too much money here. I mean, nobody should be hitting lotto for 36 million and we got people starving in the streets. That is not idealistic. That's just real. That is just stupid. There's no way Michael Jackson should have, whoever Jackson, should have $1 million, $1 billion, and then there's people starving. There's no way. There's no way that these people should own planes and their people don't have houses, apartments, shacks, drawers, pants.
People would say, well, they are
that part. The necessities, family. We ain't got people who out here struggling who ain't got nothing. No necessities, no real home, no real place to go to consider themselves a home. It's sad out here. People doing real bad, man. And it's unfortunate because we got a lot of people in power who could care less, right? Who could really care less about what people are going through, what they need. And that's the point, is like everyone is so, in this elitist mentality. And like Tupac mentioned earlier, where he said, grab, and everybody get back, right? That is the mentality that a lot of people are going through right now. And so it's always interesting to me to kind of see how these things play out, because of course now we're starting to see how that mentality, and that's why I wanted to bring that video up at the very, towards after I brought up that Trump quote, because it shows just the character and how that character of Trump and how he tries to move, it integrates into the culture now, in American culture. And so now we live in such a selfish, very, elitist, I'm getting mine, I don't care about nobody else's type of space where people are on that. And it's really sad, because right now I think is the time where, people do need to figure out what the plan is and start, executing it, because it's clear that they don't care. And we have to now start to delineate and make sure that we just focus on Black American business. Everybody else, y'all got to figure out your shit, because we got enough problems and we need to, make sure that we focusing on those. So I just wanted to hop on this quick live to, step on old Donnie's neck real quick, because we ain't got time for the BS with old Donnie. And I'm excited to, continue this journey on, bringing awareness to, the masses and people who follow me. So salute to everyone out there. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe, make sure to share it, get the word out. Elite Media Co. We doing some things over here. We getting the live streams going. We got podcasts, we got videos, vlogs. So make sure to continue to support us, man, as we continue to climb on this YouTube journey, on this content creation journey, raising awareness journey, all that. You feel me? So salute to everybody out there. My name is Brandon B. This is Elite Live Streams, and I'm out. Peace.